Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the amendment introduced by my friend and colleague, Ranking Member Dix, and in opposition to the broader FY 2012 Interior Appropriations Bill. This bipartisan amendment, I believe, is critical to restoring the long-time commitment to protecting our most threatened species from extinction. The gentleman from Virginia is absolutely correct that so many of these species our planet actually depends on, and it is a symbiotic relationship that protects our environment. The language in the underlying bill to prevent any funds from being used to list new species under the Endangered Species Act, I believe, is short-sighted and only serves to punish a successful program for preserving critical habitats. And this language is just one example of the extremely harmful policies included in this bill. On the broader bill itself and how it fails to help our economy and create jobs, I want to mention that in my home state of Rhode Island, our unemployment rate right now continues to be the third highest in the nation at 10.8%. Right now, we need investment in our infrastructure and in our resources to create jobs and modernize our communities. New England is home to some of the oldest infrastructure in the nation, and it is estimated that our drinking water infrastructure will will cost over $400 million over the next 20 years, and that our state has $1.16 billion in unmet wastewater needs. But instead of addressing these needs by investing in our communities and creating new jobs, this bill slashes both the clean water and drinking water state revolving funds by 55% and 14% respectively below last year's levels. In this time of complex and contentious debates about our debt and future fiscal security, I constantly hear my colleagues talk about the burden our actions will place on the next generation. Yet this bill would repeal and block implementation of two of the most important laws that keep our environment safe, the Clean Water and Clean Air Act. Now, what chance are we giving children to grow up and flourish if we can't protect the rivers and bays that they swim in and the water that they drink? I'm also very disappointed that this bill blocks the EPA from finalizing a rule reducing emissions of mercury from power plants. Now, last week, members were down here on the floor speaking about the tiny amount of mercury in light bulbs, yet today these same members are blocking a rule that would keep our fisheries healthy and safe for consumption, in addition to preventing 17,000 premature deaths each year. I don't understand how my colleagues on the other side of the aisle can be opposed to a small amount of mercury last week, yet today seemingly have no problem with much larger quantities of the same substance but being allowed to endanger public health. Now, lastly, I urge my colleagues to fight against the nearly 80% cut in the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the lowest amount in its 45-year history. As many of us are well aware, hunting, fishing, camping, and other outdoor recreation activities are a great benefit to our economy, bringing in a total of $730 billion each year and supporting 6.5 million jobs. Now, these numbers bear out when you look at my home state of Rhode Island. Each year, 163,000 sportsmen and 436,000 wildlife watchers combined to spend $381 million on wildlife-associated recreation in Rhode Island. Now, we have incredible national wildlife refuges, which have been protected by the LWCF funding, and which our families in my district are offered an opportunity to enjoy beautiful parks, trails, open spaces at no cost during these tough economic times. Mr. Speaker, I don't believe that this bill reflects our values or our shared desire to preserve our beautiful nation. I believe we can and we ought to do better for our constituents and for our children. I urge my colleagues to reject this bill and to bring a bill to the floor that preserves our environment, creates new jobs, and protects our commitment to the future generations. I yield to the gentleman.
His statement. It's an outstanding